Okay, so keeping you out of the sun. It is a beautiful sunny day here. As I'll just give you a glimpse up top. Beautiful. It's an evening, but out for a nice walk. And this video will be in spiritual warfare. It will be dealing with envy and frustration. Okay, so it's a battle we all go through, and you will at some point in your life, or you've probably gone through it, or as a Christian, you will suffer and battle with frustration and envy. So the last 2 weeks I've been going through this season of frustration, okay? And it's where for 2 weeks I was mad at God. I was frustrated. So a little bit of background on it is, as you know, I've been walking this journey with him for 6 years. And I've changed so much that I don't even recognize myself anymore. That's a good thing. But the old me, I don't recognize it much. But last 2 weeks I was dealing with just this frustration and envy. And it's because it was the enemy I've talked about is also comparison. You see, I'm doing the exact same stuff that others are doing. Friends and acquaintances, I'm on the same journey. Making videos, putting the kingdom first, and following God, and I see these other people advancing. They're into these relationships. I guess that's what this is about. Like, it's amazing how many people seem to be getting into relationships. Pretty much everybody I know is dating, or they call it dating. I call it courting, basically. But they're basically dating, and pretty much everybody, like I said, I know, or is in a small circle, has somebody. And I look at it, and I'm doing the exact same stuff they are. Some of them are Christian, and I don't have anything yet. So 2 weeks, I was very frustrated with God. I let him know my frustrations, and I asked him, I don't know why I'm going through this season. I thought I was past this. I thought we were done with this envy and frustration. And it was just really challenging. The last 2 weeks, I noticed, was really challenging about it was making videos. But even praying, reading my Bible, it was a struggle for me to even want spend any time alone with him, because I was just so frustrated. Like, how all these other people moving forward and getting all these blessings heaped on them, and then I look at myself and I'm doing the exact same thing. And I've made videos about this. It's comparison. I know, but that's just part of that's the flesh, and that's fallen nature. You still battle. But yeah, I said, what am I doing wrong? Why am I being, I said, isolated, Lord? Like, I'm doing the exact same thing they are. I'm serving the kingdom. I'm doing this. I'm doing everything I can to follow after you and give up all these habits, and I'm getting, nothing in return. And that's when the enemy was really tempting about the going back to the old way, and because he was telling me, you didn't have this problem before you started following God, did you? You weren't lonely. I wasn't. I was a strung out corn addict. I didn't have these feelings of loneliness and just frustration when things don't go your way. I didn't have these feelings because at the height of, I was wandering, prodigal. I've shared in video my testimony, but I didn't have these problems because I didn't care. I didn't have a care. I didn't care what other people were doing. I didn't care if you were in a relationship. In fact, back to the old me, I actually prided myself on destroying relationships. Like, I actually did that to a few people I know. I actually sabotaged the relationships they were in caused them to, break up. And I did that. And I took joy in it. This was back before my conversion to Christ, before he, like I said, I can look back and I don't even notice the person I was. And so anyways, that's another video. So for 2 weeks, I was very frustrated. And I said, Lord, why do I feel this way? I thought we were, like I said at the start of the video, why are we going through this? I thought I was past it. And it was frustrating. I was waiting for him to say something, And finally, I decided I would just listen. And he doesn't speak very often. He speaks all the time. And I guess people hear about this, very verbally. He doesn't speak to me anyways often. I'm not going to claim that I've got, a one-on-one conversation with him and stuff. He just speaks to me when I need it. And I recognize his voice. And there was 4 words he said. And they were, do you trust me? That's what he said. Do you trust me? And I knew what that meant. Is, do I trust God? I gave him everything. And I lifted up to him and he said, he was saying, do you still trust me? Do you still believe in me? And of course, I knew, and I said, yeah. And so when I realized the 2 weeks being frustrated, I realized how stupid it was a breakthrough, actually. God was using it to teach me something. I realized, well, I'm asking God for an answer. He doesn't have to answer me. I may be his, son, born again. I'm a child of God, but he doesn't owe me an explanation. I'm like Job. He doesn't have to tell me anything. Who am I to question God? He exists beyond, thought and time and stuff. And it's like Job almost. I'm like, well, I was frustrated and just had to, and I know he understood that. But it's just, who am I to question God? He knows the plans, and his plans are better than mine. And you only have to realize in 2 weeks I was acting very immature, that he used it as a breakthrough to show me, hey, I know you're frustrated. He said, but trust me. And those were the 4 words I had to hear. Summer. And I just had to call my pup over. Car coming down the road, so I figured I'd give her a call over. She's pretty good about staying close, but I didn't want her getting run over. Like I said, I walk back country roads, and if you've ever walked on back roads, there's freaking yahoos that go zinging by 100 miles an hour and almost run you over. So, anyways, lost my train of thought there for a minute, but yes, so I said, what, Lord? And so, as I said, he said, do you trust me? And I do, and I realized everything he'd done, and I used this as a reflection. Part of breakthrough, I looked back, and I looked at everything God had done for me from the time I trusted him. As I said, from January 20th, 2020 was the day that I died, basically. And I look back at everything he's done, how he's transformed me, how he's always been there, and how I trusted him then. And yet now, walking this, I think I was putting God, or at least trying to shove God into my timetable. And it doesn't work like that. God's on his own timetable. So I realized eventually that I was wrong. And of course I repented, asked God's forgiveness for acting immature, and just, that's what I said, it was immature. That's why I'm making a video about it, because I know somebody, somewhere, has had this frustration too. I know there's somebody out there that's frustrated, and that's why I made the video about it. Because we're going to go through this stuff. It's what's going to happen. So we just have to trust God and keep following him. And as long as we do that, we will be fine. And we will make it through. So I just had to share that in sort of like a confessional video. But even though I've walked with God for quite a while now, I still have these feelings once in a while. And it's a breakthrough. And I just wanted to share it. And if you're going through a struggle, just know that his plans truly are greater you can imagine. He has great plans for you. So I'll continue to trust him and just continue on as I always have. So I'll leave the video here. Yeah, as I said, I'm just taking in nature right now. It's just so beautiful here. Like, we're getting spring days, and you can see there's like hardly any snow. It's just the sun shining right over there. Like right there. It's freaking blue skies. Like, it's like almost 6:30 at night, and it's freaking just amazing how bright it is. The sun's still got another, as you hold your hand up to tell, little survival tip, you count your fingers from where the sun is, and every one of your fingers is 15 minutes, right? So that's an hour. If you move it down to just to the tree line, that tells you how much time you have left. I have about an hour and a half of sunlight. And that's before it drops below the trees. So that's a good way to measure your time if you're out hiking or you're out walking. You can hold your hand up, and every finger is 15 minutes. You hold it at the bottom of the sun, and you move it down. That'll tell you roughly how many more hours of what I call daylight you have. Because once the sun drops below that tree line, or drops below the trees, not only does it start cooling off, but it gets dark fast. And that's when you have to find a place to camp if you're hiking and get set. So that was just a little tidbit for those that decided to stay till the end of the video. Might drop a few of those in just for the viewers that actually stay to the end. I'll see what other little tips and tricks I can leave there for you. But this has been A Voice in the Wilderness, a soldier, bondservant of Christ, signing off. Whenever you see this, have a blessed day or night. Stay safe in these dark, crazy times, and I will see you in the next one.